Hi, I'm Shataka Atkins, and this is Focus on Tomorrow. Focus on Tomorrow is a nonprofit organization located in Chicago. If you have any questions or comments, you may reach us at 312-738-6110. And you can reach us at our website. Today we'll be featuring Circle Foundation, and today we'll be joining us is Mr. Jackson, the Executive Director of Innovation High School. So, hi, Mr. Jackson.
Hi, Shataka. How you doing?
I'm good. We would like to ask you a couple questions today about your nonprofit organization.
Awesome.
Okay, so we would like to start with what's your mission at Innovations?
The mission of Innovations is to work with students to get them on the right track. Our focus is to help students that may have had struggles in regular high schools or for whatever reason, academic behavior, or maybe they just need a new change of scenery, and help them get on the path to graduation and post-secondary achievement.
That sounds great. What actually got you started to want to help the youth in Chicago?
Well, I grew up in Chicago, and as a youth in Chicago, I was involved in a lot of things, kind of got on the wrong track myself, ended up going to jail and getting in trouble, and kind of getting myself together and going through college, I realized that, a lot of youth kind of need a second chance or just kind of a different focus. And so going through college, my major was psychology. I graduated with a psychology degree, and then I got my master's in counseling. And I wanted to kind of just help out the youth that come from neighborhoods and experiences that I had growing up. So I got into education. I started consulting, and I worked with a partner who is now, of course, the principal of the school, Mr. Moore, and we founded Circle Foundation and opened up Innovations High School.
That sounds great. That sounds really positive, and your testimony. That sounds really good. Why do you think it's important to invest in our youth in Chicago?
Well, we come from a standpoint that all youth can have a bright future, no matter what their background is or what where they're from or what they get involved in. And so nowadays we hear a lot of people saying a lot of negative things about our youth, from their involvement in social media or them wearing their pants down or it's so much violence. And I think that people have the wrong stance on that. I think that all youth just need someone to help guide them to the proper channels so that they can have a more positive experience in life. So we don't take the stance. We don't look down on any student or any child, any young adult, regardless of what they're going through, because all of them have a future, and we don't rule anyone out. So I think that people just need to take a different paradigm shift when they look at youth today.
I totally agree with that answer. So you guys are the largest educational program under the Circle Foundation, right? So can you tell us a little bit about like the activities you got going on in Innovations and what you expect out of your students?
Well, Innovations, our main goal, of course, is education, and it's the academics. We want our students to focus on their classes. But a huge part of growing up and becoming an adult and becoming successful in life is personal development. So we have a lot of things in the school focused around that. We have a school assembly every month, which we bring guest speakers in sometime. We have different themes for each month, kind of to focus on, getting the students to focus on themselves. Our 4 quadrants at the school include personal development, scholastic excellence, social responsibility, and creative expression. So we have a lot of activities that focus on those things, including field trips. We have an arts integration focus at our school where the teachers use the arts to kind of engage the students in the classroom so that school is not so boring. And of course, we have a bunch of caring staff that kind of just pull students to the side sometimes in the lunchroom and on field trips and just, give them that guidance that they need. Again, I think the major focus that most students need is just someone to kind of grab their hand, give them some different options, and inspire and motivate them and empower them to do something with their lives.
Okay, so when you say you help them with like personal development, scholastic excellence, like how do you show them that in the school setting, and like how do they apply that to their daily lives?
Well, there's different ways to do it because we have a smaller school setting. It's not just one avenue. Like, we don't just say, okay, well, we're going to just focus on this and pull everybody in the room. Although we do have group meetings like that, I think as far as having a small school like ours, we only have 324 students, and, you know, having a small school like that, you have different staff who can make different relationships with students. And that's the key point in any educational environment like ours is relationships. So if you have a student that student might not want to get into a club, that student might not want to connect with that mentor, but somebody in the school, that student, we're hoping that student can connect with, and then have a personal relationship with them and a conversation to get them on the right path.
Okay. Like, what kind of art integration projects do you guys do, and what is an art integration? Like, I know your school is known for art integration. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so arts integration, a lot of people kind of get that confused. I'm glad you asked that question. We're not the type of school that we don't have our students like focus on playing an instrument or learning how to sing as a graduation requirement. We bring artists in, and the teachers use arts projects to kind of engage a lesson. So I'll give you an example of one I just seen actually on the second floor of our school. Our science teachers did an arts integration project on different microcells that are in the body. And so the students had to kind of draw a project. They drew the cell out and made the cell like, they introduced the cell almost like a person. So they personified the cell as a living person. So it's just different ways of engaging the subject, not necessarily the student becoming an artist per se, because we don't necessarily have great artists coming out, people that want to like be painters or anything. But it's just a different way to engage the subject matter. It makes it a little bit more fun. So you have in one of the other classes, when they dissected the pig, they actually made sculptures of the pig. So sculpture is an art form, but we're not asking our students to become sculptors or learn how to sculpt, but they just made little projects, like small projects, and that's what arts integration does. It takes small units within the classroom, different projects, and they take an art form, and then they use that to kind of engage in the curriculum.
Okay. That was nice to get a better understanding of that. Do you guys have any like clubs besides the projects? Any clubs at your school, activities?
Yeah, that's another great question. We have a bunch of clubs in our school, and I'll tell you, our clubs are like the center point of what some of our focus is, because we find that students that are in our clubs are the best academic students in our school, and they have the most focus. So we offer a bunch of different clubs. We have a forensics club, we have a mixed martial arts club, we have a poetry team, we have a basketball club. What we do at the beginning of the school year and each semester, we ask the students which clubs they would like. We kind of do a poll. We have student council do that, and then we try to find staff that can sponsor those clubs. So right now, I believe we have about seven different clubs running in the school, but they're student focused. So like the mixed martial arts club came about from students just kind of saying, hey, we want a martial arts club. Mm-hmm. And since mixed martial arts is kind of the end thing now, we started that, and one of our teachers chairs that, and they do field trips and have different people come in and teach them different styles of martial arts forms.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. And by the way, I also heard that you guys have an awesome poetry team. I heard about them, so
yes,
congrats
I have to give them a shout out. They perform in Louder Than the Bomb, which is citywide and nationwide competition. They are awesome. They also perform usually at our annual gala this year. One of the poets from the poetry team performed at our gala. They are awesome. They write their own poems, and they perform in competitions. We love them.
I love them, too. They're very talented, by the way. So we got past the classes and the activities. Can you tell us a little bit about what you expect out of the seniors, and like what are your requirements as of completing innovations?
Yes, you're just an awesome interviewer. Another awesome question.
I'm sorry, excuse me. We have a caller.
Okay.
I'm going to get straight to the point. Why should a parent trust their child's education with your institution? do you guys have universities that come there, such as the Northwestern, Loyola, to recruit?
I heard something about Northwest. I couldn't hardly hear the question. Can you repeat it for me?
I can repeat myself.
Yes.
Why should a parent entrust their child education with your institution? Do you guys have universities such as Northwestern and Loyola that come there to recruit students?
Okay, very good question. First of all, our school is accredited. We have national accreditation, so we have the accreditation to give education. But the other thing in regards to the question you're asking about post-secondary, we have a post-secondary department, and our post-secondary department focuses on getting students. All of our students have to be accepted into a college before they can graduate. And I was kind of going on to the question Shataka was asking about senior requirements. We do have a college invasion day where we have colleges come out to our school to actively recruit. We take our students on college tours, national college tours, as well as college tours for colleges and universities in the city and neighboring in Illinois, such as Northern, Northwestern. As far as Northwestern, though, I want to...
no, we're just using that as an example.
Okay, yeah, but I just want to say about that. A lot of our students, and this is not all of them, because we do have students who can qualify to get Northwestern, but a lot of our students, when they're coming to our school, they're getting back on track, and back on track means either picking up credits that they might not have gained and also picking that GPA up. So, a huge focus of ours to get them back on track and get them to the point where they can actually make applications to places like Northwestern, to four-year university.
I just want to make, is this an alternative school?
Into a college before they graduate.
Is this an alternative school?
This is a charter school, but I also want to clarify because there's a lot of negative stigma going on around charter schools. We're a public charter school, so that means that all of our school is open to any student. We don't have a requirement to get in our school. Like, we don't discriminate against the type of students that we get in. We do have a student fee, which is $250 plus an extra $100 for a senior fee, which helps us cover expenses. But we're not the typical type of charter school that we know about in Chicago. I know there's a huge debate against public school education and charter school education, but we're not your typical charter school.
Okay. Any more questions and comments?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I was asking our caller, any more questions and comments?
Is the caller still there?
No.
Okay.
So we can continue our conversation, Mr. Jackson, about innovations.
Okay.
So.
Could I go also talk a little bit more about our senior requirements? Because you did ask that before the caller came.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we have a senior portfolio that is probably one of the more rigorous classes that our seniors have to take. And that portfolio has a bunch of projects that they have to accomplish before they graduate. And then they have to do a presentation in front of a panel of that portfolio and pass it before they can graduate. Now, what that does for our seniors, it gets them a chance to actually get used to speaking in front of a panel. Mm-hmm. But it also gets them to know that they'll have to write a certain essay. They have to have a resume as a part of that portfolio. They have to have some schoolwork as a part of that portfolio. It can get really intensive for our seniors, and that's probably one of the, if not the biggest challenge for our seniors to graduate, of course, along with having to get accepted into a college.
Okay, excuse me, Mr. Jackson. We have a caller with questions and comments.
Hi.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. This is a wonderful show. I'm really fascinated by what your guest has been saying. I was hoping maybe he could talk a little bit about the success students experience after they graduate and kind of what happens with follow-up in terms of students kind of being out in either the collegiate setting or the career setting and how they help with that.
Okay.
I could not hear the question at all. Could you repeat it, Chicago? Because I can hear you clearly.
She wanted to know about the success and the follow-up after their students graduate, I believe.
That's correct, yep.
Yes. So
yes, that's another excellent question. She wanted to, just want to clarify the question. She wanted to know, do we do follow-up with our students when they graduate, and what's our graduation rate?
Are your students very successful after they graduate from your school, and what do they take from your school, and what kind of careers do they take after they finish your school?
Precisely, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, because we have a wide range of students that come into our school, our as far as what they do is very diverse. Some of our students go right into the workforce because they're on their own, they're independent, and they need to make money. They don't really have the money for college, so to say. A lot of our students go to city colleges, which are in the school in the city, and then we do have some students that go away to college, to four-year universities. As far as follow-up, our post-secondary department has, especially right now with the internet being out, because we can keep track of our students. So we do follow up with them to see if they need help, where they're going. We have, over the last 6 years of us being in business, we have a 90% graduation rate. So our students that get to the senior year, actually 90% of them graduate. In regards to 4-year graduation, those students who have gone, on this call, I don't have the specific numbers in front of me because I'm also calling in. But I do would like anyone who's interested in getting more information about specifics about our graduation rate and follow up on that to give us a call at 312-999-9360. We also have a website, which is innovationshs.org. And you can go on there and find more information out about specific information in regards to graduation and follow-up.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Jackson. I would like to, and thank you for answering those viewers' questions.
No, I love when viewers call in. That's very good. I'm glad people are actually listening and want more information.
Yes. So what type of background does your students come from? Because I know the alternative school rumors be kind of they come from troubled backgrounds or and I know that's not the case all the time. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I was kind of hitting to that when I'm letting people know that we have a very diverse range of students. We have students that come from schools like Lane Tech, Kenwood. We have students that come from schools like Dunbar. They come from all over Chicago because we have a centralized location in the Chicago Loop. Skills range from students that are really struggling academically to those students who are, scoring 28 and 30s on ACT tests, because there are many reasons why a student can want to come to our school. So it could be because of behavioral, the traditional idea of the struggling student that goes to an alternative school. But it could be that student that just didn't want to go to a huge high school in one of the smaller school settings. So there's a very diverse range of students that come into our school, and we're able to meet each of those students at their level and for post-secondary, get them to where they should be according to where they're at academically and as far as interest level.
Right. Thank you for explaining that. So it says, we talked about the portfolio. So your students can apply for Gemstone scholarships, I hear.
Yes.
So what do they have to do in order to receive a Gemstone, and what is a Gemstone scholarship?
Great question. We have a local businessman by the name of Jim Stone who invests in our students and in our school. When we started the school, Jim Stone had a meeting with me and one of my board members, and he wanted to know what would motivate the students to be more successful. And, we talked about some of our students not having enough finances, and money always is a motivator, or I'm not going to say always, but is a good motivator. Yeah. And so what he said is, hey, why don't we offer them a scholarship if they're doing well in school? So essentially the Gemstone Scholarship is for students that have all A's and B's, have over 90% attendance, and have what we've just added. We have at our school a kind of like a point system where in regards to behavior. So you have to have so many points in order to be eligible for this scholarship. The scholarship is given quarterly, which is every 10 weeks, and it's $125 for the student every quarter if they stay eligible for the scholarship. And one of the great things about the Gemstone Scholarship is it's able to be carried out 2 years post-graduation. So if that's pretty much $500 a year that a student can get that they can use for books or whatever they need towards when they leave Innovations. $500 a year for 2 years.
Okay, that sounds awesome. That sounds very great and a nice motivator for your students.
Yeah, and one of the greatest things is that Gemstone will give that scholarship. There's no limit to the amount of students that can receive it. So, if he said that, if all of the students in the school were eligible, he would pay that out for our students.
Right, that's awesome. And you said even when they graduate, they still receive it, like after 2 years. That's amazing.
Yeah,
So,
and a lot of students have been eligible for that, and we have students that come back from out of town, or maybe they're still out of town. We'll mail them their scholarship award because they still have to be in school or employed in order to receive it once they graduate.
awesome. So we have 1 minute left for wrap up. Is there anything, last words you would like to say to your viewers?
As far as most of the people that come to our school are referred from family and friends. That's because we don't. We've just recently started doing radio commercials to get the word out about our school. But I think one of the biggest focuses at our school is to get people to look at life differently. And one of the things I know you asked a question about the type of student that we have, and I want people to get out the idea that there is a bad student or a bad child. They're just people that need guidance.
Totally
And if
agree.
you find a student that is in that area that may be having trouble at school, or maybe not having trouble at school but needs wants a new environment, Innovations might be that place for them. And our whole goal is to get people to look differently. First of all, the student, him or herself, to look at themselves and life differently, but also people just in general to look at students differently and stop stereotyping people and saying, that these kids are bad. No one is bad. People just need different options and guidance. And if we can get that word out, that's our mission at Circle Foundation, and that's what we do at Innovations High School.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you being on our show. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the interview. You had great questions.
Okay, thank you. I would just like to remind our viewers, Focus on Tomorrow is located in Chicago, Illinois, in a nonprofit organization. If you have any questions or comments, you may call us 312-738-1060. I am Shataka Atkins, and thank you for having me, and we'll see you next week.